What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. You know exactly what time it is. It is time for my weekly mock draft. And I got to be honest with you, I've been really enjoying these 2-round mocks, sprinkled in with a little bit of a 3-rounder every once in a while. So the way that I figure it is this one that you just clicked on will be a 2-round mock. And then probably next week, I will do a 3-rounder just to kind of get you guys more familiar with the prospects that are probably going to be going late day 2, maybe even early day 3. But before we get into this mock draft particularly, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel. The channel has been blowing up like crazy lately, and it's all thanks to you guys. I really appreciate it. And let's get it going here. Just going to dive right into it this week. We got the Chicago Bears at pick number 1. And I'm not going to lie to you, this top 5 is pretty straightforward for me. I think this is easily Caleb Williams. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, Justin Fields is... I don't know what to make of Justin Fields at this point. Some weeks, I think he is the franchise guy. Some weeks, he looks bona fidely terrible. I can't make it out. I think that if you're the Chicago Bears, and last year you traded out of the number 1 overall pick, turned out to be a really great thing that they did, because now, because they traded out, they subsequently have the number 1 overall pick again this year. I don't think that you pass on a franchise quarterback 2 years in a row, especially with the quarterback class that you have. You cut your losses, quote unquote, with Justin Fields. I think that they trade him for probably a day 2 pick, something around there. I think once it becomes pretty clear, I'm not saying that this is clear right now, but if it becomes clear that the Bears want to take Caleb Williams or Drake May, whoever it may be at number 1, then the value for Justin Fields is going to go down, essentially. And I don't really think his value lies in day 1 anyway, to be quite honest with you. So at number 1, we're going to take Caleb Williams here. I don't think that there should really be any problems with this pick. I think you get what you can for Justin Fields after you make the pick. And honestly, I'll just let you guys know now, I'm making this pick with the vision that in round 2, I already make this pick later on, but round 2, I'm going to have the Atlanta Falcons trade their 2nd round pick and possibly more for Justin Fields. So just so you guys know, that's exactly what it is. So Justin Fields is now out of the equation. Caleb Williams is now solely the franchise quarterback of the Chicago Bears. So Justin Fields gets traded to the Atlanta Falcons for their 2nd round pick. At Arizona at number 2, this is so easy here. Caleb Williams is off the board. I think that they kind of rolled the dice. They don't want to move up at all. I don't think that they want to move back. They will stay here if Caleb Williams goes 1 because they want Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think the only way that Arizona trades out of the number 2 overall pick is if somehow Chicago takes Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 1. Then that leaves Arizona with, a mad scramble for people to hit their line with trade offers. But if Caleb Williams goes number 1 overall, number 2, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a beautiful consolation prize there. So that's exactly who they go with. And then again, number 3, New England, Drake May. Just makes a ton of sense. Mac Jones has been benched for like the 48th time. He is the most uninspiring. And this is coming from someone that watches Zach Wilson play quarterback every single week. That Mac Jones plays some of the most uninspired football I've ever seen. And then it doesn't get any better after. When Bailey Zappi comes into the game, when Mac Jones inevitably gets benched, it doesn't get any better. Drake May is going to be the franchise guy for the New England Patriots. For whoever they bring in to lead their new regime at the head coach, at the GM position, they have to clear house and just start over. The Belichick era should be and probably will be over after this season. At number 4, you have the Bears again. Now, this one might be the only controversial pick in the top 5 here, but you got your franchise guy. Do I want to go wide receiver at number 4? I really don't. I think the only wide receiver, to be quite honest with you, the only wide receiver that's worth a top 10 pick is Marvin Harrison Jr. And this class is loaded, don't get me wrong, but there's other positions of value that this draft holds as well. Edge rusher, there's a really top heavy. Tackle, it's just soaked with talent throughout. That was a weird way to say that. I don't know why I said that. And then, of course, you have quarterback that is really talented as well. So I don't think I would be willing to take another wide receiver inside this top 10, especially with the Bears. They have so many positions of need. So I'm going to go with the best edge rusher on the board. And that's going to be Laiatu Latu here at number 4. I just think that he is so versatile for what teams are trying to do. 6'5", 265 pounds, brings the most explosive. Probably he has the most explosiveness I'd like to say, out of this draft class. For me, edge 1 and edge 2, it's really, really close between Latu and Jared Verse. But I just think Latu brings that like unrefined power and speed, power, athleticism combination. He just has everything that you're looking for a 4-3 edge rusher. So, you pair Latu with Montez Sweat for the next 4 years, plus, hopefully, that seems like a really good pass rushing duo, if you ask me. At number 5, you have the Washington Commanders. Now, I would be going in a completely different direction if they didn't have 2 picks inside the top 40 after this number 5 overall pick. They have 36 and they have 38 with a pretty deep pass rushing class, and then you have a super deep offensive tackle class. I'm going to hold off on that, and I'm going to take the best weapon that's on the board, and that's going to be Brock Bowers here. Logan Thomas has done a pretty good job at the tight end position, especially considering that he came into the NFL as a quarterback. He's done pretty well, and he's actually a decent tight end for Washington right now, but I can't pass up getting possibly the most versatile weapon in the entire draft class, and that's Brock Bowers. Some people don't think that Brock Bowers is generational. I think he is a better prospect than what Kyle Pitts was. Bowers is going to be my pick here at number 5. And then you have my first trade down spot here at 6. I think the Giants, I love the Tommy DeVito story, Tommy Cutlets. He's from New Jersey, whatever it may be. I love it. But he's sort of kind of killing the vibe for the New York Giants as he keeps winning. The last couple games he has won, and it's kind of killed the draft position here because I'm not super in love with the quarterbacks that are here for the New York Giants. I feel like if the Giants were inside the top 4, they'd be willing to make the trade up to maybe even number 1 just to solidify their chances of getting their guy. But at 6, I feel like the Giants don't have many assets to be moving up. I think they need to move down because they could still get a quarterback in the mid part of this first round range here. So I'm going to trade down with the New York Giants, and a team that hasn't found themselves this high in a little while, or a couple years, I guess I should say, the New Orleans Saints. They're going to move up to number 6. So this actually turned out to be a pretty decent trade for the New York Giants. It is the number 6 overall pick for number 53 as well, and then it's number 11 and a pick swap in the second round. So the Giants get 47, I believe it is. They move up 6 spots in the second round, and then for 2025, they acquire a second round pick and a third round pick. So really good value there just to move back 6 spots. The Saints at number 6 here, there's only one guy I'm looking for on this board right now, and that's Jaden Daniels. I know a lot of people might think that this is high, but Jaden Daniels just kind of, he stays close to home in Louisiana, in New Orleans. The Saints have to do something because quarterback play has been killing them this year. I really feel like if the Saints have had a legitimate quarterback or legitimate quarterback play in general this year, they easily run away with the NFC South, and it has not been the case. Derek Carr is clearly not the long-term answer. They're going to have to cut ties with that contract ASAP. I think you bring in someone like Jaden Daniels, who's been a bona fide playmaker, probably and should win the Heisman Trophy. He's just an absolute stud, and I can't not justify taking him at number 6, especially if New Orleans trades up. So at number 7, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is another interesting spot here for me. I wanted to take someone here. I really wanted to take J.J. McCarthy here, believe it or not, because I do think that Baker Mayfield has done more than enough to solidify himself as the starter for maybe even at least next year. So then you get someone as raw and as green as J.J. McCarthy with the intangibles that he has. I figured that would be a really, really good pick. But I can't really justify it here at 7, especially with the other quarterbacks on the board that could probably start day 1 and be super effective. So this is going to be another trade down spot here for me. I think that with Jaden Daniels going off the board at number 6 and now already 3 quarterbacks off the board inside the top 6, I think some teams are going to start to panic. And that's why I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to make the call to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Minnesota Vikings make the phone call and they move all the way up to number 7. It is a doozy, let me tell you, to move up from number 20 to number 7. It's going to cost multiple picks. It actually costs the number 20 overall pick and the number 52 overall pick, I want to say. So this is the one and done pick here. It is, what pick is it? It is the number, what team am I looking for? I honestly forgot. I am looking for the number 52 overall pick. I really had a blank there for a second. So this is the only pick, one and done for the Minnesota Vikings in this 2-round mock draft. But Minnesota is going to trade up and they're going to take Michael Penix Jr. Listen, Josh Dobbs is a free agent. They brought him in to be, that guy that could probably still take them to the playoffs if he plays as good as he was at Arizona. He had 4 interceptions Monday night against the Chicago Bears. This is a short-term fix. As much as I like Josh Dobbs, he clearly looks like their magic has been running out, and he is not the long-term answer at quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I think you have to go, even if you re-sign Kirk Cousins for a year, maybe even stretch it to 2. I still think you need a long-term quarterback on the roster, and that's Michael Penix Jr. With a top 5 offensive line, and when you have all these weapons that the Minnesota Vikings possess, you're essentially taking Michael Penix Jr. from college, where he has a good offensive line and all these weapons, and you're putting him in the NFL version of the Washington Huskies offense, especially with Kevin O'Connell as a quarterback guru. I mean, it just seems like a perfect fit for any quarterback. That's why I thought last week J.J. McCarthy would be a really good fit there, but I think if you're Minnesota, you got to make the move up now, and you got to get your guy, and that's Michael Penix Jr. At number 8, you have my New York Jets, and as much as I'd love to trade down here with the amount of offensive tackle talent that's on the board, the Jets only have 1 pick in this 2-round mock. I am not going to be trading down here with Ola Fashanu on the board. I need to make the pick. As in good conscience, as a Jets fan, I cannot trade down and get a lesser prospect just for the sake of getting a 2nd-round pick. I can acquire that another time. So I'm going to take Ola Fashanu here. I mean, if you've watched the Jets at any point this year, it is the most uninspiring football you will ever watch, whether it's Zach Wilson, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian. Honestly, throw Thomas Morstead at the quarterback position at this point. We'll see what he can do. But it's uninspiring, and it starts and ends with the offensive line. Granted, like I said, the quarterback play has been terrible, but the offensive line play has been terrible. The Jets have paraded 9 different offensive line combinations to start a football game in 11 games. That is insane to me. So you need to get younger. You need to get more healthy. You need to get beastly on the offensive line. And that's exactly what Ola Fashanu brings to the table here at number 8. At number 9, it's going to be a weird one here. It's going to be a trade down between the Raiders and the Chargers. My thinking here is that the Raiders are going to be in the market with the quarterbacks that are left on the board. I'm not super thrilled. J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. I don't really know if they fit exactly what the Raiders are trying to do. If I had to make a choice between the two, it would probably be Bo Nix. But my thing here is last year we knew that the Raiders were super aggressive in trying to get Paris Johnson Jr., and they failed. I think with the amount of offensive tackle talent here, sure, they could sit back, but when will you have the opportunity at number 9, 10, or 11 to draft Joe Alt, J.C. Latham, or Talisi Fuaga, someone like that? I think they got to move up, because Tennessee's obviously going to be taking, at number 10, you're going to be taking an offensive lineman, no doubt. So I'm going to trade up the Raiders and the Chargers here. So a super easy trade here, moving back a couple spots for the Chargers. They acquire a 4th-round pick. Super easy trade for both teams. The Raiders trade up to get Talisi Fuaga. Now, this guy, granted, trading up for someone that's going to be playing right tackle, questionable maybe. I do admit that. But Colton Miller is a super underrated left tackle in the NFL. He is going to stay put where he is. He's one of the better ones in the NFL. Right tackle has been a turnstile position for the Las Vegas Raiders. Jermaine Illuminor has not been great. He's also a free agent. And I think it's time you just get you younger and you forget about the position for God knows how long. Talisi Fuaga is just an absolute mauler. Pass protection, run blocking. He is extremely athletic for the position as well. Look at Jason Kelsey run from the center position, and that's exactly what Fuaga can bring to the table from the tackle position as a massive man. I think this would be a great pickup for the Raiders, and I don't think that their 1st-round pick would fail this time. Tennessee at number 10, got to be Joe Alt if he's on the board. That's a no-brainer there. And then the Chargers trade back 2 spots, acquire a 4th-round pick, and still get who they were going to get anyway. That's going to be Kool-Aid McKinstry. Easily the secondary. I mean, even though they played pretty well against the Baltimore Ravens, the secondary needs a massive upgrade in many different spots. I was honestly considering Cooper DeJean in this spot. I was even considering someone as Cameron Kinchins, a safety, all the way up at number 11. This secondary just needs a spark, and McKinstry could obviously bring that. Now you have the New York Giants again. I've circled back around to them, and this was a problem that I kind of wanted to forget about, but unfortunately I couldn't. I have to make a pick here for them here at number 12. Listen, it has to be done. The Band-Aid has to be ripped off. It's not going to be J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be Bo Nix. I really think Bo Nix would... people are going to absolutely hate that pick, and I completely understand it from a fan perspective, but just you have to understand it. Number 6, You could take someone like Bo Nix that high. You could take Jaden Daniels. You could also trade down a little bit and get one of these second, first tier guys, is what I'm going to call them. Like Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy are second, first tier guys, in my opinion. And I think Bo Nix would thrive with the New York Giants. Granted, you have to get him a little bit more of an O-line. You have to get another weapon for them to use, but Bo Nix is he's just got it. For as bad as he was at Auburn, that's how good he was in Oregon. And not only that, like if Bo Nix isn't necessarily ready, you're going to be paying Daniel Jones all this money anyway. So if you think Bo Nix isn't ready, you could parade someone out there as your starter. I mean, you're going to be paying him either way. So you might as well play him if Bo Nix isn't ready, and then you can cut ties after the season. So I'm going to take Bo Nix there, sort of kind of reluctantly, but not really. At number 13 here, the Green Bay Packers. A lot of offensive tackle prospects left on the board that I like, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Cooper DeJean here. The reason being is I love what DeJean can bring to the table for the Green Bay Packers as a slot defender, as just a stand-up safety in his own right. Extremely athletic. It's a shame that his season was cut short due to injury, but he is an athletic freak of nature, and he would just be a massive upgrade at honestly both positions, besides for Jair Alexander for the Green Bay Packers. At number 14 here, you have the Rams, a pick that I make every single week. It just fits so perfectly every time. No sense in changing it. It's going to be Dallas Turner. Pretty straightforward there. And then Cincinnati at number 15, a lot of different ways you can go for a receiver here. Odunze, Neighbors, Coleman, these are the three guys that stand out the most. Here's the thing. If you're going to be replacing T. Higgins and you want someone with immediate production and a similar play style, I think it's going to be Rome Odunze here. Malik Neighbors might make a little bit more sense from the explosiveness standpoint, but Odunze is so athletic and so smooth in his own right, and he plays majority in the boundary, and he could win downfield. He's so good with contested catches as well. I think Odunze would be the clear-cut pick here for Cincinnati at 15. And then you have the Buffalo Bills at 16, another one, a super tough pick for me to make here. But I'm going to go with Keon Coleman. I think the size and the boundary abilities are just super necessary for Josh Allen. I mean, they need to, it's kind of similar thing with Cincinnati here. Gabe Davis is probably going to be receiving wide receiver 1 or close to it, money in free agency. They're going to have to replace that. Who knows if Stephon Diggs is going to come back? We don't know what the heck is going to go on. As of right now, the Buffalo Bills, I'm pretty sure, are out of the playoffs right now. I'm almost certain about that. So you got to make a move here. You got to make a move. And Keon Coleman, I feel like, would just be that boundary threat. Even if Stephon Diggs comes back, Gabe Davis leaves in free agency. Now you have Khalil Shakur, Stephon Diggs, Keon Coleman. That's with Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. Really, really nice. 5-headed monster right there. Keon Coleman is the pick. Arizona at number 17. Going to go a little different direction here. Got to hit the secondary here with this. If Nate Wiggins is still on the board, Nate Wiggins or Kalen King, for me right now, preference might be a little bit more of Nate Wiggins. Just gives you a super long, rangy boundary corner that Arizona is just severely lacking ever since Byron Murphy left in free agency. So that's going to be the pick here for me at 17. Denver at number 18 has fallen into some unfamiliar territory here. It's going to be Jerzon Newton for me. This is a guy in a 3-4 defense that Denver deploys. He's going to be your defensive end, and whether it be run defending or rushing the passer, he is exceptional. He honestly, in my opinion, is the best defender in the entire class. If you're Denver at number 18 and you get the best defender in the entire class, that is a massive win. He's a huge upgrade to that defensive line. Atlanta at number 19. Now you have to remember, we're making this pick with the lens that Atlanta has already acquired Justin Fields for their second round pick. So now you have maybe a franchise quarterback in Justin Fields. Now we're going to get him another weapon. Imagine Atlanta's offense here. Justin Fields at quarterback, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier in the backfield, Kyle Pitts at tight end, Drake London and Malik Neighbors as your wide receivers. That honestly has the potential to be the most explosive offense in the entire league, if you're not counting the Miami Dolphins. I can't pass that opportunity up. I know that there's a lot of other needs for the Atlanta Falcons, and I know that they don't have another pick in this mock draft, but if you leave day one of the draft with Malik Neighbors and Justin Fields, you got to feel good as an Atlanta Falcon fan. Tampa Bay at number 20. This is going to be Jared Verse. They trade back 13 spots, and they still get one of the better defenders in the entire class. I know I could still go with JJ McCarthy here. He's still on the board, but I'm going to go with an impact starter right away, and that's going to be Jared Verse. Number 21, Indianapolis. Going to go with a little bit of an outside-the-box pick here. I'm going to go wide receiver, and it's going to be Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin is someone that's not getting enough love throughout this draft process, in my opinion. Just an incredible wide receiver on the outside, super fast, just so versatile. His route tree is phenomenal. He's a beast in the open field. He's such a good player. He really is. And he didn't get a lot of consideration. I mean, I went through this spiel last week, and I guess I'll say it a little bit again. I don't get how, Marvin Harrison Jr. will get all this Heisman hype, but then guys like Troy Franklin, Malik Neighbors just kind of are lost in the wind there. I don't really get that. Be that as it may, they're all tremendous players in their own right. I just think it's a little strange. But Troy Franklin is amazing. He cashes in on a fantastic season, and he is an immediate upgrade on the outside for the Indianapolis Colts. Seattle here at 22, I'm very conflicted. There's a team that I think is one or two defensive pieces away from being a legitimate Super Bowl contender in the AFC, and that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens, and they're going to make the jump from, I believe it's 31 as of right now, to 22. So Baltimore now picking at 22. We're going to get another cornerback here. It's going to be Kalen King. Marlon Humphrey on one side, Kalen King on the other. That's really nice. They've been searching for that second cornerback since Marcus Peters left, and I think Kalen King is the absolute answer there. Pittsburgh at number 23. Got to go with the best, potentially the best player left on the draft board, and that's going to be J.C. Latham. I know that they drafted Broderick Jones in the first round last year, but the offensive line still needs an upgrade. It really does. And I think if Latham is here, he's basically the best player left on the board at this point. I'm going to have to take him. Another upgrade to that offensive line. It might not be what Pittsburgh fans want, but I think in the long term, it would be a massive success for them. Houston at number 24. Going to go with Braylon Trice. I made this pick last week. Going to make it again. I think they do need another upgrade on the defensive line with guys like Jonathan Grenard, free agents after this season. You got Will Anderson Jr. You have a defensive-minded coach. The offense looks explosive for what they have. You could just add in free agency or add later on in the draft. I think the defense still needs some upgrades here and there, and Trice is a fantastic 4-3 edge defender. Miami at number 25 here is going to be Amarius Mims. I don't know if Mims actually is going to be entering the draft. He might go back, but as of right now, he hasn't made that decision yet. So I'm going to go with the best tackle prospect left on the board. Hasn't played a whole lot this year. He was injured. His tape is pretty limited this year, but five-star recruit was great last year as well. I think Miami takes the plunge on him over someone like Patrick Paul or Graham Barton. Dallas at pick number 26. This is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. for me here. I think this defense, I've been so adamant this season that the Dallas Cowboys need a cornerback number 2, but Deron Bland is putting in a defensive player of the year like season. And I think it's time that we give him a little respect. I'm going to shy away from the secondary help here, and I'm going to get them another boundary wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb is so good. You could argue a top 3 wide receiver in today's NFL, and I will fight anyone on that. But with Michael Gallup maybe being a cap casualty, and then you have Brandon Cooks as a free agent as well, you need to bring in another guy to, kind of balance off of CeeDee Lamb here. He can't do it all himself. And Brian Thomas, 6'4", 215 pounds, insane range, body control, speed. I think this would be an amazing addition for the Dallas Cowboys offense. Number 27, the Detroit Lions here. This is a fan-controlled pick, to be quite honest with you. Through the comments from last week, it's going to be Kamari Lassiter for me. I just think that the Detroit Lions do need an upgrade in the secondary. For the corner position, mind you. I think everything else, I believe Cam Sutton has been the best corner that Detroit has. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't know if you count Brian Branch as a slot or a safety, whatever it may be, but I think they do need an upgrade on the other side of the boundary. So Lassiter is going to be the pick for me at 27. 28, we are going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm going to take the best wide receiver that's on the board here, and it's going to be Emeka Egbuka. I mean, pretty straightforward, can play on the boundary, can play in the slot. We don't know what's happening with Calvin Ridley. I think even so, this offense has not played up to, the last couple weeks they played well, but overall as a season, they haven't played up to their absolute potential as an offensive juggernaut, what we thought that they were going to be. Trevor Lawrence hasn't necessarily taken that third step after last year. He took a massive second step. He's kind of in between there. I haven't seen the leap to step 3 or whatever it may be to superstardom. I think adding another wide receiver could be exactly what the Jacksonville Jaguars need here. And then KC at 29, pretty straightforward. You need a wide receiver. It's going to be Adonai Mitchell. Size, speed, relentlessness in the open field, and you got Patrick Mahomes throwing to you down the field. This guy could wind up with 1,500 yards in his rookie season if this pick comes out. I think that I'm a lot higher on Mitchell than a lot of other people are, but I think you'll see it throughout the draft process and the combine and pro days that he really is an athletic marvel, and he's sort of kind of coming into his own. He didn't really get a chance to spread his wings at Georgia, transferred to Texas. He's doing really, really well as the number 1 option, and I think this is just scratching the surface of his potential so far. When you got a prospect that hasn't reached his full potential yet and is going into the NFL, that's someone that I want to draft. I don't want to see the ceiling yet. I want to get to the ceiling, and that's something that I think Adonai Mitchell can get to in KC. And then you have San Francisco at pick number 30. This is going to be Graham Barton here. I think I saw the right tackle position for the San Francisco 49ers is ranked like 59th at the position, which is insane to me, quite honestly. I think that an upgrade at right tackle or maybe even left tackle down the line is absolutely needed. Trent Williams is not getting any younger, and Cole Miskevitz, whatever his name is, I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong, they need an upgrade over him for sure. Seattle at pick number 31. This is going to be a pure guard for me, and it's going to be the most athletic guard in the entire class, and that's going to be Christian Haynes, a pick that's really, a player that's really low on the board for some reason, but Haynes is the most athletic guard in the entire draft class. I thought for a while it was Donovan Jackson, and while he's still incredibly athletic, you get so much more with Haynes. You just get technical refinement, you get athleticism, you get speed for the position, just an overall great athlete, and Seattle desperately needs some interior offensive line help. Philadelphia at number 32. This is going to be JT Tuimoloau. Just an upgrade on the edge is sort of kind of needed at this point. I know the Eagles basically play like a 5-2 front with Hassan Reddick being an outside linebacker, but he does line up. You know, he puts his hand in the dirt. Having some trouble here today, folks. Putting his hand in the dirt there, kind of lining up with like 5 down linemen. I think that Tuimoloau is the upgrade over Sweat, I know they cut Barnett, and then Brendan Graham, of course, in his age 35 season, aging like fine wine, but it is time that you do get an upgrade or a long-term solution at the 4-3 edge position here. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our first round, so I will be back right now. All right, here we go. The second round here. Pick number 33, pretty straightforward here. The Carolina Panthers with their one and only pick, the first pick of the second round, Xavier Leggett, tremendous athlete, an obvious upgrade to the wide receiver room. Troy Fautanu is a pick that I made at number 34 for the Arizona Cardinals because of his offensive line versatility. Yes, he could play tackle, but he's probably better suited at the NFL level as a guard or a center. So I think Arizona could really benefit from that offensive line versatility. You have Patrick Paul at 35. I know the New England Patriots escaped this mock draft with an offensive tackle and a quarterback, but not a wide receiver. I get it. But if there's 2 picks that are more New England Patriots than that, you know, the one position of need besides for really quarterback is wide receiver, and they leave the first 2 rounds without it. Pretty on brand, if you ask me. Like I mentioned before, you have Washington here, 2 picks in the next 3. Tyler Guyton is the pick for me. Love the athleticism. He hasn't necessarily put it all together from a technical standpoint, but he is going to be fantastic if he can. Jalen Polk is the pick at number 37. Just a super awesome boundary receiver that can go up and get contested catches. This is exactly what the New York Giants need. They just need an upgrade in general at the wide receiver position, but Polk offers incredible size and just big playability. At 38, you have Chop Robinson. This is kind of like the Montez Sweat type of build for a defensive end. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, and he's super fast and super relentless. So this is going to be a really nice pickup for Washington if this is made. Kingsley Suamatia is the pick at 39 for the Green Bay Packers. An obvious upgrade at the tackle position is needed. David Bakhtiari is on his way out. Suamati is one of the most nimble and agile 6'8" guys I've ever seen on film. Jatavion Sanders at number 40. This is just a real great upgrade from an athletic standpoint over any tight end that the Chargers have, and they do need another offensive weapon for Justin Herbert. At 41, you get Will Levis, that speedy wide receiver, that gadgety type of player that could really open up a playbook. And that's exactly what Xavier Worthy can bring to the table for the Tennessee Titans at 41. Yes, and 42, I teased it so many times, but J.J. McCarthy is the pick here for me at 42 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You kind of have to do it at this point. If you've gone 2 picks, and he's not there, you have to do it at number 42. This is a guy who's super green, the youngest quarterback, I'm pretty sure, out of the entire draft class. He's shown flashes of his insane potential and his insane intangibles. He just needs to sit back and he needs to learn an NFL offense. And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Baker Mayfield presumably back next year as the starting quarterback, it could afford him the time that he needs to get acclimated to the NFL game. And then you have the Raiders at 43, Leonard Taylor, a great upgrade on the inside. He's playing nose tackle at Miami right now. Obviously, that's not his game. Last year, he was incredibly effective as a pass rusher, and I expect him to get to that again at the NFL level. Then you have Cameron Kinchins. I know that I took Cooper DeJean, who's probably going to play safety, slot corner at the next level, but I mean, if Cameron Kinchins is on the board at 44, with the thinness that the Green Bay Packers have in their secondary, I have to take him. I mean, he's just one of the most incredible safeties I've ever watched on film. I think that we have a legitimate Earl Thomas 2.0 type of guy on our hands. I'm not even kidding you when I say that. He is that good. Watch his film from last year, and I thought that it couldn't get any better, but he's really refined his game this year, and he's going to be a sensational player. It's amazing that he's fallen this far in this mock draft. And then Denzel Burke is the pick that I make. This is the only mock that never changes from week in and week out. The LA Rams at 14 and 45. It's always Denzel Burke at 45 and always Dallas Turner at 14. Chris Jenkins at 46 for the Bengals. A much needed upgrade on the defensive line, especially if DJ Reader does leave in free agency. Jeremiah Trotter at 47 is a nice upgrade on the second level of the defense here. Wow, is it the second level? I don't even know sometimes. The linebacker position, Jeremiah Trotter, someone that's been up and down on the draft board. But I think this is a really nice pickup at 47. Tyler Nubin falls to 48 and falls into probably the most perfect position that he can fall in with the Buffalo Bills. With Micah Hyde and with Jordan Poyer getting older, they could bring in Tyler Nubin, take some of the tread off of those tires. He could learn from 2 of the best guys over the past, 8-10 years in the NFL. Nubin's going to be a beast at the next level. A little bit of a surprise pick here at 49. Jackson Powers Johnson is someone that just has insane line versatility, could easily play either guard position, even has enough size to play tackle if you want to. 6'6", 320 pounds. He's a really awesome player. He's a beast, and I really expect him to be going up and up on those draft boards as the time goes on. Barrett Carter at pick number 50, just a nice upgrade into the linebacking core for DeMeco Ryans, who honestly looks like he can go out there and play linebacker right now if he wanted to. So at number 51, I know it has the Atlanta Falcons here. This is actually the Chicago Bears pick. So it wouldn't let me trade the pick for some reason, even though it let me do it in the last simulation. So just picture this pick. This isn't the Atlanta Falcons. This is the Chicago Bears, and they pick Malachi Corley. You have DJ Moore on one side. Malachi Corley will probably take over for Darnell Mooney in the slot. He is a freight train, 5'11", 208 pounds. He's 280 pounds when he runs with the football. He's an absolute beast. Terrion Arnold, another excellent upgrade to the secondary for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 52. Princely Umanmielen is not only one of my favorite names to say in this entire draft class, but he is an absolute beast. Don't let the defensive line tag fool you. He's going to be a 4-3 defensive end. I believe he's 6'4", 6'5", 255 pounds around there. Might bulk up to 260, 262 around there. Be a perfect edge defender for the New Orleans Saints. Jordan Morgan is a nice upgrade on the offensive line. Could easily slot in and play right tackle for the Indianapolis Colts. At 55, you have Johnny Wilson. Just an insane wide receiver, 6'6", 6'7", 235 pounds. I'm not in love with him as much as some other people are. His tape has been pretty lackluster this year. If you go back to last year, it's really good, and you would say, why is he here? He should be a first round pick. But I think this is a really solid pickup for the Browns with their only pick in this 2-round mock. Quinyon Mitchell at number 56, someone that I've been high on for quite some time, and it looks like a lot of people are starting to jump on the bandwagon as well right now. 6'1", 200 pounds, just incredible boundary ability, incredible ball skills as well. I believe he leads the FBS in like pass deflections or something. I think he's like 16 or 18, something like that, something crazy. He's been targeted quite a bit and he's held his own, and he definitely looks like a great boundary corner at the next level. Cooper Beebe offers some really nice offensive line versatility for the Dallas Cowboys that are going to need it sometime soon, especially with Tyron Smith edging closer to retirement. Donovan Jackson, I mentioned him before. I think he's one of the most athletic guards in the entire draft class. That's a super solid pickup for the Detroit Lions, where offensive line might be a sneaky need for them. Again, another trade that didn't go through, but it was supposed to. The Jacksonville Jaguars traded out of the second round to the Seattle Seahawks here at 59. They picked up 2 third-round picks, and Seattle trades back into the second round, and they drafted Caden Bullock, a really nice potential long-term upgrade over Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams. I think they just need to get younger at that safety in that safety department, and Bullock is a really, really nice player. They haven't been shy about drafting players into a strength. You think of last year with, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jackson and Tariq Woolen in the secondary. They drafted Devin Witherspoon. Look at how amazing he's been. So they're not shy about drafting into a strength. T'Vondre Sweat is just the most insanely athletic 362-pound man you'll ever see. He will parade the nose tackle position for the Miami Dolphins at pick 60. 61, I'm going with a safety for the San Francisco 49ers. James Williams brings some of the most imposing size you'll ever see from the safety position. 6'5", 215 pounds. Could easily play as like a Buffalo nickel or something like that in the San Francisco 49ers defense. He's just a chess piece you could put all around the defense. Kieran Amagaji at 62 is potentially a long-term solution at either tackle position for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's much, much needed. Tyleik Williams, another upgrade to the defensive line, probably going to play for his size at 295, might be able to get away with playing the defensive end position in a 3-4, but just offers really nice versatility. I've said this once, I'll say it again. It was supposed to be the Michael Hall show on the defensive line for the Ohio State Buckeyes this year, and it turned out to be the Tyleik Williams show this year. And then the last pick in this mock draft at number 64, you have Javon Bullard from Georgia. Bullard is someone that can play safety, also could play slot corner. That's another reason why I picked him here to the Philadelphia Eagles. Offers some really nice versatility to the back end of that defense. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is my 2-round mock after week, 11? I don't even remember. Week 11, week 12, whatever it may be, of the 2023 NFL season. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.